one, thank you for doing this again. I have the old episode number in my notes here. It's been a hot minute.
It's been a while, yeah.
So
Are we going already?
This is the B-roll to begin with.
Okay, because you said that last time, and then the B-roll to begin with was at the beginning.
Yeah. But yeah, so this should be a good time. Start to talk about Bender and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you tell me. I mean, this is your world, man. I don't know when we're supposed to go.
Yeah, we'll get into it. The way, if you remember, the way that I start these is do an open crack. I didn't know how tonight was going to go, so I made sure to grab a good old tall 40 here.
I saw it. I grabbed some Modelo's. I wanted to class it up a bit, but damn, I wish I would have brought a double melt Colt 45. That would have been awesome.
Dude, I'll tell you when we get started about the journey I had to take to find this.
Oh yeah.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Beers with Bands podcast with your host, Michael Torres. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Bands. Very stoked to be welcoming back my guest this week, also because it's another in-person week, which is always fun. But welcome back to Jordan Carr.
Welcome back to Jordan Carr. Welcome back. I'm in a new house.
Which I want to talk about because it's been 3 years, and I looked at it today. We're recording today on the 20th.
Yeah.
No,
21st.
Today's the 21st. Yeah. The last time we recorded was November 15th, 2021.
No shit. Yeah. It was November. Damn.
So,
and it was that long ago?
Yeah. Because your episode came out in December of 2021. You were actually episode 70. And now here you are, episode, I think it'll be 220. So it's been a hot minute.
Yeah. That, every time I open Instagram, I see Beers with Bands. I thought, this motherfucker... Even to get to 70, where we were, is I think, what is the statistic? Most podcasts don't make it past the 20th episode.
Is that right?
And then you're into 200?
Yeah.
That's wild, man. And to be doing it, what do you do every week?
Yeah, new episode every week.
That's fucking crazy. I don't do anything every single week.
To be fair, this is the only thing I have in my life besides work. So, I've said, if I had, a significant other or something, I don't know if I'd be able to keep the pace that I do at this.
I think then you would have to, if you did and you couldn't, you'd be like, this is not the right significant other.
You never know.
You got to kick rocks. Or just you get another host.
We'll see when that day comes. But it's crazy that it's been this long. It was so nice to see you recently at the Gloria show.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to... actually, on the Tommy from Toilet Rats when he came through, because when I had never known Gloria.
Sure.
I'd heard of it from Matt talking about it when he cuts my hair and stuff like that as it was getting closer. I never knew how big of a turnout that show was going to be, and that was a crazy show. But it was also nice to see a bunch of homies at this show that I hadn't seen in a while, because I feel like the last time I saw you might have been at Part Wolf.
That was the last time that I played with the full band.
Yeah.
And that was after that was a month before we did our episode on that. Because we did that, it was an October release.
Yeah.
But that's probably it, because then I didn't do a whole lot after that. Because I think, I don't know. But yes, it was awesome to be at that show and see you. And I saw so many people I hadn't seen in years.
Yeah. And
then people that I also knew had never seen Gloria. But it also had never seen Jordan Carr and the Boys. And that was a big room.
Yeah.
It was a full room.
Yeah.
That was nice.
I think I can't remember how you put it on stage, where you kept running into so many people, or you kept saying I got to run to the bathroom or something. It was just sensory overload almost.
It was. I was already a little nervous to do it because we hadn't played with. I had not played with the full band for 3 years, and originally when Matt was talking about me being on the show, I was just going to open. I was going to play some of my songs, speed them up, fluff the crowd, play for 30 minutes, bang, 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 no talking, get off. And then Chris Shotliff, who's a guitarist in Gloria, hit me up one day and was like, "What's this shit I hear that you're gonna play solo? You know this is a big deal, so you should get a band." I'm like, it's so much hard fucking work since I've spent the last 3 years playing alone.
Right.
I just grab the guitar and go. But then, I reached out to everyone, and everyone was just, everyone has their own lives going on, and was like, yes, yes, yes. Everyone said yes, and I was like, easy. Rented out a space to rehearse, and we were not good. We were just so not good right away. And then even, up until maybe 2 weeks out from the show, I was like, fuck. I was texting Caleb, who's like, those guys are all very good friends of mine, but Caleb's like my rock. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, dude, do you think this sucks? He's like, I don't know, man. But we kept going. It'll be fine. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. And it did. And we played very, very well. And it was such a good turnout. But yeah, when I got there, I was already nervous that we would not be that good. But then when I kept seeing all these people I hadn't seen in forever, I didn't know how to handle it. So I kept going, "Oh, it's so good to see you. You look great. I got to go to the bathroom." And I said that maybe 40 times. And then I just couldn't lie anymore. So I had to say it into the mic. Because I would say that to someone, and then I'd take 4 steps in the opposite way of the bathroom. And someone would be like, "Oh, he's just got to go talk to everyone, I guess."
All I could think when you said it, I was like, "Damn, that's a good move. I should start doing that at some point."
I do. I used to do it all the time, but that was like at parties when I was younger. I thought I would be elated, be like, "Oh, all these people I haven't seen in so long. Everyone's excited. Just leave me alone."
Well, because even when I got there, me and Stefan, who I used to live with at the old house, we got there, we were waiting for our other friend to show up, and I saw you over on the merch table, and I was gonna go up and say something, but you already had just a rotating amount of people coming up to you, and I was like, okay, I want to catch him when he's not doing that.
Yeah, and I remember when I ran into you, you were on the far end, opposite side of the merch, and thank you, I appreciate that. But it was awesome. I had forgotten what it was like to play with the full band and play at a show like that where kind of there's this camaraderie within, everyone knows why they're there.
Right.
But then there's the B side of why a bunch of other people are there. And then all these people get to gather, if that makes any sense. People get to gather and go, "Oh, I've never seen Gloria, I've never seen Jordan Carr and the Boys." And then when the review of that show came out, I was it Girl at the Rock Show?
Yeah, Girl at the Rock Show.
I read, she's great. Everything that is written on that site is awesome. And I think pretty true, because I read it and I went, that was really good.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I wanted people to walk away from that show feeling about the other bands, myself, and the work we put into it. So, yeah, that was... it's good to see you. You look great. I gotta go to the bathroom. It's good. And I would like to that's a good segue into, I was very nervous to do this podcast again because something's been going on in my life where I have one beer and I'm like, oh, bathroom break. Yeah. It's, I hear that happens when you're older, but it's getting worse for me. Oof. So when we get to bathroom breaks, I'm going to use that line.
Okay.
And then... You just play some elevator music or something.
Everyone take a shot every time you hear it.
Done.
There we go.
I'll try not to kill anyone.
But yeah, it was great seeing that show. Everyone on that bill, came out and they came out swinging. And then it was just nice in general. Like we said, I haven't seen you in general playing, but you with the boys in 3 years. So that was a very nice treat to have on that show.
I thought that our Rail Vodka EP that was 3 years ago, how that time passed, I don't know. I thought we were not good, and I was not stoked with that, and I was carrying that over as this will be redemption, this Bender EP release that we're doing, which I was kind of piggybacking on the Gloria thing. I'm like, well, if I put in all this work, the EP is done. Matt's my boy. I was like, "Matt, I don't want to intrude in anything. Do you mind if we just do this as the EP release?" He was like, "Absolutely, let's do that." And it just puts more eyes on the show, and because I release music pretty sparingly, which is not by design. It's just, or it is by design, but It's not what I want. But it was the perfect show to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And I was so stoked when there was... originally, we were going to be second on the bill. And it's just... I think that's just me as a person. If I didn't put any effort into it, I would have just showed up playing acoustic guitar. I'm like, I'll play first. I don't care. And that was party the rest of the night. Once I had to put effort into it, and other people did too, and I had to put money into it, I was like, I don't want to play second. And then I think it was Tommy from Toilet Rats was like, oh, it's his EP? No, put him second to last. And it just worked out very well. And it's a shout out to Tommy as well. What a gem of a person he is.
Nicest fucking dude.
We had never met prior to that. And we were out in the alleyway loading in, and he came up and was just like, that EP is so good. And it was, so many people will tell you that, but the way that he said it was so genuine, and our communication since then has been, he's just such a genuine, good dude.
Yeah.
And it was very kind of him to do. And I think it made us all in the band feel much better about, because the turnout was great.
Yeah.
But, when you see the first two bands, sometimes you go, people are still flooding in. By the time we had played, I looked out and I'm like, this is all right.
Yeah.
This is, there is no empty space. This is great.
I know. I think I went out after Portside Dive maybe and had a smoke break. And it came back in. I was like, holy shit, where'd all these people fucking come from?
It was awesome. I think the room, the capacity, and I may be wrong. I don't know if we're even at any level where somebody's going to message and be like, this fucking capacity is actually this. I think the capacity is 275. I think we were at that with bands, and God knows how many people just walked in. Because by the end of it, I just watched people going in. I'm like, whatever. And then at the end, when they had paid, when they were like, this is how much money is going to be made, I was like, I had forgotten that we were getting that. I had forgotten that you get paid to play, because I was having so much fun. And the fact that I had rented a rehearsal space for all of us to play at, and I was like, oh, this covers that. Awesome. Perfect. This is good. But yeah, that was really good, and I was stoked. I was stoked to see you and so many other people, and that's essentially how we got into this room right now. Yeah,
because I think that same night we were like, I think you mentioned about wanting to do another one. I was like, dude, yeah, let me know. And now we're here. Here we are. Sometime later. I totally forgot. Like I mentioned, you were on episode 70. For people that might not be aware of Jordan Carr, singer-songwriter based out of Minneapolis, rock and roll through and through. Last time you were on, we talked about Rail Vodka, which we kind of mentioned a little bit here. Solid EP that is out there for everyone looking for it on streaming sites. Please go listen to it. I was listening to it today and had a joy reminiscing as I was listening back to it. But we're here to talk about your latest EP, Bender,
yeah.
Which has been out officially, technically out as the EP version since late September. Yeah. Because these songs have been kind of around a little bit longer.
So here's the kicker. When I put the EP together, this really could have just been one song that I put out that was brand new, or not even new, but because there are a few people, believe it or not, there are some people in this world that were super stoked and excited that I was putting out an EP, and then I got emails and texts from people that were like, what the fuck, dude? These other songs have been out for... Like, I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, maybe it's I know this song. And for anyone who doesn't know me, they would be new to you, and I'm very, very proud of what we did with them. But they are some older songs, and that were released at different times. These were remastered. Some of them touched up a little bit with a little bit more layering. But the last track on there, which is maybe the song I'm most proud of ever, was Being Zach Morris, which Justin Sapp, who produced the whole
Shout out
EP,
Sippy.
who is just, I can't stress enough how much he made those songs mean something to me, if that makes sense. Like, it made, I love those songs anyways. What he did with them made me not only love the songs more, but love him more. And it was such a treat that he came and played with us at the EP show as well. I know after the show, Caleb, the drummer, was like, he saw some videos of it, and he was like, what the fuck, man? If I could have heard, if we had this really shit setup for a PA during rehearsals, and he was like, if I knew that's the stuff he was doing, I would have been so much more jazzed about it.
Yeah, dude, Sippy rips. I remember, if people remember Justin Sapp from
Common Choir.
Common Choir, back when they were on, like, the shit he does in that is just insane. So it's nice to see him kind of putting his touches on your stuff.
It was, I mean, if we're going back to even before Real Vodka, during COVID, when we had all got together via Zoom to watch WrestleMania.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it was awesome. But not as fun as it used to be when we'd all get together in a room. Because, like, once everyone starts talking on Zoom, the screen is, like, giving me epilepsy.
Oh, yeah.
But it was, I had this idea that I was just going to track things. And, like, once we were like, oh, this is not going to be a month. This is going to be a while that we're at home. So I was just tracking guitars and vocals. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to send these out to people, different producers that I know, and let them do whatever they want with the songs. And that EP was called Neapolitan Man. And during that WrestleMania time, on that WrestleMania Zoom, he was like, oh, I'll do a song. And I distinctly remember being like, yeah, but I would like someone who's like a producer. And I kind of, looking back on that, I probably remember it so well because I'm like, fucking idiot. I don't know if he remembers this at all, and I'm sure the other people in the Zoom were like, shut up. But he was like, yeah, I could do some production stuff. I really like the songs on that. They're all very different, but the one that him and I did, or the one that I sent him, I should say, that he mostly did, I listened to that one the most, and it's so good. It's called American Spirit. It is so far down on the listening, like, it's never going to get, that no algorithm's ever picking this song up. But that was kind of like, oh shit, this is so nice to have, where it's somebody who, we've known each other a long time and come from a musical taste background. And I kept wanting these songs to be like, not quite punk rock, but kind of not this. And then he would be like, just hear me out and send me in. And I'd go, fuck, all right. Yeah, keep those very pop punk drums in there. And then that's how we got into Bender. So Bender, some of the songs on Bender were done before the Real Vodka.
Right.
If for anyone listening, I know I'm taking you on a journey of time hopping, but it was Neapolitan Man came out in like 2020, then Real Vodka 2021. But some of these songs on Bender, I just kind of laced out as singles in 2021 as well. When the world kind of was when everything was shut down a bit, Sippy and I were just kind of kicking stuff back and forth. Mm-hmm. And then the studio shut down because of COVID. So I did all the Real Vodka vocals at Sippy's.
Okay.
And then we finally put out Real Vodka. And I was, at that point, so much more stoked on these Bender songs, which would become Bender, which were already out. And I know I'm getting lost because I'm excited to talk about it and to like jerk my friends off verbally. But the song on Bender, the third track, is Just South of Heaven. That was also on Neapolitan Man. That someone else, my buddy Jesse McInturf, did his take on it, which is so wildly different. But then just one day, Sippy just sent me his own kind of like Springsteen-y punk rock version of it, and I was like, what is this? And like, you took time to build the whole song out, and I was like, I remember being a little bit like, why would he do that? That's not where I wanted to go with this. And I listened more, and I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. We've got to get over there
right?
And do some vocals. And then there was just this, that's kind of how we worked, is I would send him like my acoustic guitars, vocals, maybe some very piss poor like scratch leads.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe a day or two later, he'd send me something back. And it was kind of a few of them were prefaced with, I know you said this, but hear me out. And immediately the vision of what I had for these songs faded away.
Hell yeah.
And he made them, I can't speak highly enough about what he was able to do, and what I now feel so pampered to be like, well, I could just write this and like he'll take them and make them gold. But that's kind of what we did throughout it. And then being Zach Morris was really the one where the world was kind of opened back up and years had gone by. We were getting together to work on that, but we'd get together for like 2 days, and then 6 months go by, and then 2 days, and then 2 months. And I think once we finally got it done, I was like, if 13-year-old Jordan Carr knew that this song would be something like that he would put out years later, which I think it feels a tiny bit like the Goo Goo Dolls Iris meets Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue meets maybe something like the Gaslight Anthem. I think 13-year-old Jordan would be like, all right, I guess this will be worth the wait. Or else maybe I'll just get better at playing music now. But I'm so proud of that, and I could not have done that song the way it is and the way I'm so proud of it without Justin Sapp sitting in a room just doing all the things that he did with it, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm all these songs came out really sick. And I know, like you mentioned, they came out, before Real Vodka. Was the plan always to, like, when did you decide to be like, I want to put these singles together as their own thing and call it Bender?
I didn't want them to be singles. I have been planning Bender for so fucking long. And it was just the way of the world. It changed things. Mm-hmm. And those were kind of my way to get out of the house and do things with my buddies, because I knew that during COVID, however anyone was taking that time, I knew that like Sippy and Webster and myself and my family were all taking it pretty serious about, because I've got two kids now. I had one then. I was like, I don't want to be the reason anyone gets sick.
Right.
So, and it was, I think we were all on the same page. So then when all of us are like doing our quarantine things and then getting just random tests, and then I think that my family felt good enough with me leaving for an afternoon or a night and going out and hanging out with those guys to do that. And COVID kept going and going, and we couldn't get Real Vodka done, so I kept popping out. I was like, I'm going to pop out a song every single month. So I did that for 6 months. 2 or 3 of the songs on Bender were within those 6 months. But then they just kind of, I'm not super good at promoting things, so they kind of just fell by the wayside, especially after Real Vodka came out and people were paying attention to that. And I really loved those songs so much, especially Party Town USA, which is the opening track, is maybe my favorite song I've ever written. And something about that I love so much. I'm like, this deserves so much more attention. So what Bender has become is this will be a way for me to promote these songs. Not once, not twice, but then when we do the full length, 3 times. And then this goes back to me going, I'm so bad at promoting things so no, I didn't want them to be singles. I had been planning this kind of full length for Bender for years. And if you notice, like, the album cover is that kind of grimy little porch bench, which we would call the Bender bench. And this is during a time in my life where we would have parties at the house and people would go home, and I would go out and sit on that bench, and I would just do coke and chain smoke cigarettes, and I was mocking up how the album cover would look, the track listing, who I would have play on it. And it became, this is before any of these were recorded, and maybe before even some of them were written. But I was so gung-ho, I'm like, I know what I want this to be like, and I want it to feel exactly like how I fucking feel right now. Now, almost 10 years later, I look back and go, they sound a lot better. Yeah. And I'm glad they don't sound how I felt then, at least to me.
I gotta say, it's commendable to be at a, like, because you wanted them to always be their own thing as Bender, but, you know, like, you got lost of time and, like, things happen, and then you end up doing Real Vodka. I think a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but some people would have been like, fuck it, I've sat on these songs for so long, I'm just going to add them to Real Vodka and put them out. Like, what stopped you from doing that and keeping them as their own?
Simple. Real Vodka was a Jordan Carr and the Boys project where that was, it was always going to be those three songs. It was always going to be kind of what's the word? Commemorative, kind of in honor of our friend Tyler Katava, who had passed away. Yeah. And these other songs it was basically, I wrote everything, like, guitar wise, lyrically, and then Sippy had just kind of done everything else. And I think that and it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. We could have done that, but the vinyls were already being pressed. We'd already recorded everything at Tree Speak Studios in Minneapolis. And I think that it was just such a thing between Caleb and me more than anyone, where you would be able to feel the difference. Yeah. And it also just, yeah, I think it was just something where I felt a loyalty to those guys, Caleb in particularly, to just keep these separate. And like I said, I wanted Bender to be this thing. And I have had, so my very first album was called Reinventing the Dumbass. That's an LP, essentially, because it hits the criteria. It's 8 songs, it's over 30 minutes, so it's a full length. That's almost what I pictured just like 3 parts to this 3 installments that I would like to get out that's just under my name. And I feel like the Jordan Carr and the Boy things are very different things that don't fall in. Almost like you look at the Star Wars timeline, where there's like 1, 2, and 3, and then you look at the map, and then there's offshoots of these other things. If that makes sense.
Yes, yeah.
So that's where I see on the main timeline, there's Reinventing the Dumbass. Then there's Bender, the full length, which I know I'm all over the place here, but it might make sense too. Bender is like in my mind, is my The Empire Strikes Back. Okay. The full length. So once it's done. And then I have the Return of the Jedi over here, and I'm only looking at the 3. Okay. I'm not looking, and this will be so stupid. And I told myself, don't talk about this. I'm talking about it. I used to, when I needed to find a way to, I really thought that just Jordan Carr would be a shitty, I didn't like the way that just regular names looked on like merch and things. And I was like, I don't want to wear a shirt that says, even still I have this issue. Right. Like 15 years later, I'm like, printing shirt, can it just say Carr? Whatever. So I was really into listening to Poison at the time. And this is 15 years ago, maybe a little more. And the first Poison record has a song called Number One Bad Boy. I love that song. And I started using that as my like moniker for shows, Number One Bad Boy. And then people were like, you know, you're letting this you're letting this take you over. You're letting this persona, and I'm like, no, I'm not. And I probably was. I was very stupid, but I'm so happy I let that go. I originally, when I put the songs up on Spotify, it was #1 Bad Boy, and about a month went by, I messaged him, I'm like, please take this down. We'll put it out as Jordan Carr. But I envisioned that I would have these 3 albums, and they would be like this story of, so stupid, #1 Bad Boy. This would be like chronicles of this character that loosely follows my own life.
Yeah.
And but everything else that I did could be these like little offshoots off the main timeline, like Jordan Carr and the Boys, Empty Bottles, Full Hearts, Neapolitan Man, Real Vodka. But I wanted this one timeline that followed just 3 particular installments or records. And now I am lost as well, but
no, I'm still with you, man.
Okay, that's what I want it to be, and that is kind of why I didn't want to put certain songs in certain places. So Bender is essentially, like I said, the Bender EP. I wanted a way to promote these songs multiple different times,
right?
And so in December, I'm going into Back to Tree Speak studio to record the back half of Bender.
Hell yeah.
Which is not how I wanted to do it particularly. I would like to have done it all, like if it was just Justin and I doing this. Mm-hmm. But people have lives. We have things going on. You can't put everything into it. And I think that the way that I work too, just again, I've got 2 kids now.
Right.
And things are a little different than being like, yes, let's do this. And we are, as much as I hate it, adults, and with careers and other things, you can't just be like, let's do this until 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And then when we're done recording, let's stay up all night. It doesn't work that way. So we're kind of doing this thing where Justin had produced and written a lot on the first 4 tracks, which is the EP that you hear now.
Yep.
And then I have all the other songs written for the back half, 5 other songs that I'm doing in Tree Speak studio. And I think Caleb, who's the drummer in the Boys, is going to be doing some production on that as well. So we're going to start that in December. The plan is to have it done in the spring and then have a little gathering of sorts in the summer. And then that little, if you're still following... that Empire Strikes Back will be done, and then we can move into Return of the Jedi.
Dude, I love that you put that as the analogy for like your set of releases. I don't think anyone else has ever explained it that way, and I love that explanation just as like the nerd inside of me.
Yeah.
Like tying it into something like that. But I'm stoked to see what the back half of Bender looks like.
What's great about that is no one is going to email or text me and be like, this is bullshit. These songs are already out. No one's ever heard any of these songs. They've never been
like
anywhere.
Not even played live or anything like that.
Never played any of them live. I have a show in down south or southern Minnesota on December 20th where I'm playing they're like, can you do 2 hours? I'm like, oh my God. I hate to do that. I don't mind doing it, but I start going, I'm so bored playing some of these older songs. I'll play some of these new songs. And then I'm figuring out that I don't really know how to play some of these other songs on the back half. Like, they were more ideas. I was so focused on the first 4 for so many years.
Right.
That as I play them, I'm like, I fucking hate this song. This song fucking sucks. But yeah, so I've never played them. So there's 5 songs on there. It's I cut it down from 15 songs to 9. And just because I know how I work. No one has the time for me, nor do I have the money to be doing that. But I also know what the Return of the Jedi is going to be. And, that'll change it sometime. Really, this whole thing should have been Reinventing the Dumbass. The Dumbass Strikes Back, Return of the Dumbass. That's really what it should have been.
Would have been great titles.
Yeah, Maybe it's instead of the number one bad boy trilogy, which really is a very stupid way to sound, it should be the dumbass. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the dumbass trilogy. Yeah. That's what it is now.
And you know, to kind of go back to your little point about like the number one bad boy, and the stories that are told in these songs that are, you know, loosely based on your life. For people that haven't listened to you, you paint a great picture. Like, I don't think people fully, and I say this without like reading anything online, I'm saying this like as a statement right now, no one understand, like, you paint such a good picture with your lyrics and like the stories that you're presenting in these. Like, they're so vivid in like your retelling as you're singing these songs. Like, I just like close my eyes and I can just watch it perfectly.
I haven't, as you're saying that, I'm trying to like look to go, how should I look while I'm hearing exactly what I want to be hearing? That's what I want. And thank you for saying that. And that I appreciate storytelling and lyrics so much that I get so pissed when I hear like an interview or a podcast with a band that I love and the singer says something like, when they ask about, well, what's this about? And they go, really, I really don't care. Like, they're just, and then I'm instantly like, I'll never listen to this again. I need to believe that the singer, something was not everything has to be so profound. Mm-hmm. But I want to believe that there's something to be told. Right. And then, you know, when I go back and I hear a singer say something like, I just kind of put the lyrics together when we're in the studio. I go, God damn you. What a luxury. Right. Because, I mean, it's true. I can't remember who I heard say this. Before you are, and that's maybe not, it's not so common now, but when record labels were a big deal and things, you had your whole life to write your first album. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why a lot of people's first albums are very, like, they're very deep. Yeah. And then the second one, once you get signed and they're like, get it out, get it out, get it out. A lot of times it's just not that good. No. We live in a special time now where there's too much stuff, but there's so much stuff where I'm like, I'll never hear the best band in the world. There's just no chance. I will die not knowing. Like, my favorite band, I have an idea what they are. I bet you anything there's a band right now in some bumfuck place that is my favorite band. I will die never hearing them. Yeah. Because you have access to everything.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've never thought about it that way. Because I've always thought, like, we're living in such a great time where there is so much stuff. But I've never thought of, like, there's so much stuff, but there's almost, like, too much stuff.
There's too much.
In like, almost, not necessarily, like, fully a bad way. But, yeah, there's so much, like, even with this, like, doing this podcast, yeah, I try and listen to it as much as I can. And I try and, like, rep everyone that I can. But at the same time, there's so many people out there, and I can only do 52 episodes a year.
Well, that's also fucking insane that you're like, I can only do one a week. You know how fucking insane that is?
But it's like, there's so many good things out there that I want to like push, and it's like, I don't have the time.
Even at the insane amount of content that you're popping out, that does, like, your episodes are anywhere from like an hour to 2 hours sometimes. Yeah. You're going to go listen to the album. Hopefully, you're going to listen to the album of the band you're talking about. God forbid it's a 15 song. Oh, yeah. And then, so you're putting in that time, putting the time to sit down with people it's over Zoom or in person. That's a lot of time. Right. Where, like, there's a lot of time for thoughts to creep in and go, and maybe you feel this way. Is this worth it? Why am I doing this? Could I be doing something better? I will never hear my favorite band because they're in bumfuck nowhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah, dude, I think that shit all the time. I'm like, why am I still doing this? Does anyone give a shit? Let's see how this goes. And then I sit down with someone, and then they just give me props at the end, or like they're super excited to be on the episode. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do another one.
And that was like, I came in right away, and I was like, all right, how do I sit in the mic? How can I do this? How can I make this a memorable time? if for no one else, you and me.
Right. At the end of the day, I could, like, literally the reason for this podcast, and I might have told you this last time, is like, it was during, like, me and my friends had stopped touring, and we missed hanging out with our friends at shows and just, like, bullshitting.
Yeah.
And, like, so I could turn off the camera, I could turn off these mics, and we could just have this whole conversation about this album, and I'd be fully content.
Yeah. I mean,
like, that's the shit that I love.
And that's, it's a different type of person. I don't know if people appreciate enough what it takes to just listen to people talk about themselves, which is what you're doing. Everyone loves to do that.
Dude, I'm also, like, a quiet dude, so, like, I'll let people just ramble, and I loved hearing you go off on this. Like, you're the perfect person for me, because, like, I'll listen to your stories all fucking day, because they're good, they're entertaining, and to tie it back into your songs, like, you paint those pictures and you tell us these stories in such a good way with such good instrumentals behind it and all this fun stuff that, like, it keeps you hooked and you want to, like, okay, this chapter's done, basically. Like, what's the next chapter like, or what's the next movie like?
And that's another thing is to, thank you for saying that. It is tough when so many of these songs were written a long time ago, and then I was in a drought of writing for a while, and I had all these Bender songs written, but my mind can't be like, all right, just focus on do this Bender thing. Mm-hmm. I didn't reach out to Justin about doing it for a year and a half. I was just like, no, but now I'm getting these songs for this next one. I'm like, why? Why am I? And then finally one day I was like, hey, do you want to do this? He was like, I think I have time next month. I'm like, all right, let's fucking start. But I take so much time thinking and planning. You know how quickly things change? Like I said, I had these ideas for songs, and then Justin would send me, he's like, just hear me out.
Right.
I don't remember what the ideas for those songs were anymore.
Wow.
And that's what's nice about having a fresh ear and someone very talented who is dedicated to making things. If you're going to put your name on something and you take yourself serious, which I believe he does, and I think that he should, and I certainly do, it's, you don't want it to be shit.
Right.
But,
and then the nice thing is, too, like I've said this about, like, anyone that brings in a producer at any sort of level, you want them to be basically that unknown person of the band anyways.
Yeah.
And it works out perfect that, one, he knows you good enough to be like, he doesn't realize it yet, but this, like, I can tweak this right here,
right,
and he's going to love it. And then, like, knows the vision that you kind of wanting to go for and is going to help you get to that vision.
It is, so by trade, he's, I could get this wrong. Who knows? This isn't Kill Tony, so he's probably not listening. But he's an engineer by trade. You have to be very particular in things. Yeah. I think there's this, at least in my mind, when I say to him, I'm like, I kind of like this very lo-fi bedroom rock kind of, there's some dissonance in it. Mm-hmm. I think maybe in his mind, he's like, what the fuck? You want it to sound bad? That's what you mean? And we're not going to do that. And but I've never worked with anyone who just, like, takes my idea, and whether he knows it or not, I still find these little dissonance and, like, things that are true to my original, like, how I would like things to sound, while sounding professional and big, how I also want it to sound. So it will be interesting to go do the back half of Bender without him, and I'm toying with, like I said, for years I've had this track list laid out. Now more and more I'm toying with, do I gotta lace, like, in the songs I did with Justin versus the songs I'm doing over here? Do I want people to, because like I said, the songs are written.
Right.
Everything around it, that world around the songs, is still up. I love to be like, take this and make it your own. But only with people I really trust. Yeah. Because there's enough people that will be like, how do you feel about this? And I'll be like, I don't have it in me to be like, this sucks. So I'll just be like, well, this isn't my song anymore. This song's not going on the album. But yeah, I'm excited to do that. It's been a long time. coming. I wish if I pulled up my phone right now and showed you all of the mock-ups I did, just like I said again, 2000, God, it was 14, 15, coked up on that bench, putting together, using Canva to make a bunch of different album covers. There's like 40 of them. They're all almost exactly the same, just with different like typewriter font. And I remember sitting there just chain smoking, like, that's it, that's the one. And but we had you had supportive parents on before. Matt Webster, we talked about him earlier. Another shout out, Matt Webster. He did all the harmonies, vocal harmonies on those songs. And I would hope that he will do the vocal harmonies for the back half of it as well. But the drummer for Supportive Parents, Lee, he did the album art for this for Bender, for the EP, and the one I have for the full length that I'll show you later. Have you ever seen the album cover for Springsteen's? It's very simple. Greetings from Asbury Park. Just a postcard. It has that same kind of font. I'm sure a million people have done it. You know, it's like when you get a car, your new car, you all of a sudden see that car everywhere.
Right. Or
you hear a new word and all of a sudden everyone uses that word. That's how I felt once I was like, Lee, could we do it like this? And he was like, sure. Now I see all these album covers like this. And I forgot that when I was at that Gloria show, oh God, someone in Gloria, I can't remember who, was like, oh, it's the Dude Ranch font.
Oh, yeah.
I love that album so much. I don't even know if that, is that the Dude Ranch font?
I'm trying to picture it in my head, and I can't think.
I just remember the cow and with the big balls. I didn't think it was. I thought maybe we needed to use this.
I'll have the guy in the sound booth look it up. Go
for it. Hey, you just got to come up with a name for a guy. You can never hear the guy back there.
No, I'm just going to get that one guy from your mom's house that used to be on there.
You get, dude.
I can't remember
I'm sure they fired him.
Well, he quit. But that's a whole other story.
So look, this is, that's not that font.
No.
What the hell is he talking about? Okay, maybe they did something like that. Whatever. Anyways, that was the worst tangent right there. That little pause. I'm so sorry,
you're
everyone.
Good, man. We're just having a good time. But one, for people that are looking it up on their phones right now, it's not the Dude Ranch font by Blink. But I love the album artwork. One, I'm a big floral guy, and then when you look closer at it, you see the bench, the seats that you would sit on. So I love that. I love that this is, you said 2014. This is 10 years in the making that you created Bender in your mind, set list, the entire list, and now we are here where at least the first four songs are out. You're finally getting to finish it. Like, how excited are you to be able to go, to finally go into the studio and get these last 5 done?
Dude, I am so excited. I think it is, as I mentioned before, I have 2 children now. I didn't have a stable relationship in my life when I did my first album, or when I was the first album on the timeline, and then when I branched off and did all the other side quests, the boys things, nothing. It is so important to me to have things to look forward to and to be excited about. Mm-hmm. That is outside of your duties as a parent. Is just a human. When I just locked down actually this morning to go into the studio, and I have been so jazzed about it and so stoked to come here, but also, I'm very excited. It's good to have things to look forward to and be excited about doing. And I am so pissed at myself for all those times when I was writing, I was like, I could just do Bender, reach out to Justin or anyone. No, but I got to get everything set. That never happens. You just need to pull triggers on things. But then I also am now, I feel like I want things to be, I'm like, just good enough is enough for me. Mm-hmm. All I need is 3 people to hear the song before it's mastered and be like, dude, that fucking song rules. I'm like, good enough. and then I might hear Justin's voice be like, "Oh, good enough? You mean it sucks?" But no, I'm very excited to see what kind of twist and turn that takes. I was a little nervous right away, knowing that I was going to that the back half, we were going to do kind of maybe producing myself, but still doing the same way, like sending off things. It's weird to have worked with someone for so long who just kind of does all the instrumentation and kind of works this out. And now to be like, well, I can't do that, and send it out to other people. But then I have to remind myself, I did do that for a bunch of albums. I was like, this is what I want. I wrote it this way. You can play it better. Yeah, it will be different. And I bet you anything at all. Like, I bet you anything, we'll probably get these back 5 songs done so much faster than anything else because of the nerves and just the stuff that I learned in the last 5 years working on some of these songs. We'll see. If I can get Matt Webster in to do the harmonies, which is always kind of the chef's kiss, the cherry on top. That usually is what takes longer than anything, is him and I locking down a date that works. And then me thinking we'll do 3 songs in one night, and then 7 hours go by, and we're like, we've gotten through the first verse of this song. But no, I'm super stoked. And I would also like to take this opportunity where I've mentioned Springsteen before, that when I never got into Springsteen. Mm-hmm. When my first album review came out for Reinventing the Dumbass, someone said Jordan Carr is like if Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band spent their 20s maxing out credit cards on Camel Lights, cheap vodka, and cocaine. That's Jordan Carr and the Boys. And I was like, man, maybe I should listen to some Springsteen. And I use that line when people go, how would you describe your music? Because I hate that question. I do.
That's a tough question to answer for anybody.
Especially spending years in punk bands where I'd be like, do you know the Lawrence Arms? People are like, no. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, do you know Blink-182? They'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, well, it's not really like that. But
it's like them, but if you
think about this
and do this.
If it was from the Midwest and fueled by alcohol. So I started using that line, and people were like, dude, that's a great line. I go, I didn't say it. I'm not comparing myself to the boss. And that has been that and the Gaslight Anthem have been a very common, people are like, it's very much like this. Yep. I'd never heard that myself, and I was getting self-conscious of it. But I would kind of like to take this platform, the millions of listeners, and be like, I'm not really a Springsteen fan. I spent about a year during the times on that bench listening to Bender going, I should listen to Springsteen. If we remember, I said how much I want to think that the singer was having a hard time, or I heard Springsteen say that he didn't write any of those songs. They were about, like, he never worked a day in his life. Those songs were written about, like, kind of like his father as a character, as a working class man. You cannot deny Springsteen. He's great. I just have always wanted a little bit more grit and tumultuousness and now people are going to be at you on this podcast and be like, God, don't have this fucker back on here. He hates Springsteen. I don't hate Springsteen. I just wanted to maybe tell us. I want to hear a story about some drug addicts.
Right.
I want to hear about how it was a very tough, I don't know, wrap your arms around my engine, whatever.
Yeah, like, I also don't listen to Springsteen, but, like, I remember, I think, I've listened to some hits. So, like, I'm aware. But, yes, when I listen to you, I do, like, we get the Springsteen vibe. I'm really confused as to what's going on right now.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
All right. But, you know, I like I said, I love your stuff because it paints a picture. I think it's specifically in, like, in in Ronnie, it might be, and correct me if I'm wrong on the lyric, but it's like comes to pick me up, and then it like I just got my ankle bracelet off. Like I'll never hear Springsteen talk about that.
Being on house arrest?
Yeah. Being on house arrest and shit like that. Like the shit that you're putting in there as to how factual it is from your real life is just crazy that it makes it in there, but it's like a whole. It's the like that grittiness that I love to hear.
That's very. Now, that is if I were to ask anyone who knew me what song they knew that I wrote, it would be Ronnie. It wouldn't be anything else. Yeah. And I think that people that I have never met have reached out and been like, "There's this line in Ronnie that I get it so much." And it was never the line I thought it would be. I was, which it means so much when people you don't know reach out and be like, this part in this song, I get it. Mm-hmm. Or take it even further when people go, you're singing about yourself when you're singing Ronnie, aren't you? That's you. And I go, that's all I was trying to do is talk about what a piece of shit I am without telling anyone, without calling myself out. Yeah. And a good buddy of mine was like, dude, that's the best. I've never heard someone cover up what a piece of shit they are while just saying exactly what it is. And I love that song. It's so fun to play. That was my first song I wrote as a solo project. Mm-hmm. And there's also a very stripped down version on Reinventing the Dumbass. But this one on Bender that's with Caleb played the drums on that one. It's the only one on the EP that Caleb played drums on. We're gonna have to do something.
Hell yeah, I'm stoked.
It you want tequila sour?
Dude, let's do it.
Hell yeah. I packed all this stuff. We're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, you packed it. I gotta go for it.
Yes.
I almost thought about it today about like trying to run somewhere and go grab some Kharkov just to have it in the house.
Yeah, I was thinking, what should I do here? And I was listening to some podcasts ago. Has anything changed? And I remember you go, oh, what are you drinking? So I was gonna save this, but I didn't know how long this ice is gonna.
You're good. I think this format for this episode will probably be a little bit different just because of our conversation. So I think you're okay. One of my favorite things that happens in Ronnie, and I mentioned this on some of my episodes, is the use of horns. You have this amazing saxophone that comes in and just like kind of underlays like the last quarter.
It sneaks in a little bit through in the first like pre-chorus, mm-hmm. and then it kind of laces in, and then it really takes over.
It's so good. I love the use of it, and it just like I think sets the tone for like that whole song even more.
So there's a funny story about that, which we were doing Ronnie, and so we're making tequila sours right now. Anyone wondering why can't this guy talk?
I love this. This is the first episode where anyone's one brought a whole bartender kit, but two actually made me a drink on my episode.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. So we're gonna do that. So we had Ronnie, Sippy and I had Ronnie down, and I was like, God, something is really missing in here, and that would have been bad. And I found this old file of saxophones. I totally forgot that I went to this dude's house I know who played the Empty Bottles, Full Hearts, First Avenue album release with us years ago. I went to his place once, and he was, I won't say his name, but I mean, you could dig deep enough. I'm sure he wouldn't care. He was just like eating Adderall like it was candy. And the way that he was like, I brought all my recording gear, and he was like, just put the mic right there. Just keep playing the song. Play the song. Keep playing it. And he took like 30 different tracks. And I thought he was just walking around randomly going, and just hit a note. It wasn't until Sippy got those files and he was like, dude, there's so much gold in here. I didn't know. This guy's such a good musician that he would just hear a part and he was just hit a note, and I'm making this up, but I feel like I remember him going, "It's whoever mixes this, they'll know what to do," and it was, and then like so Sippy and Caleb were both listening. They're like, "Dude, there's so much good stuff in here," and I thought it was overload. I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to do that." Now I can't, like, that's my favorite part of that version of that song, because it carries it out. Like, where you think it should be a guitar solo, it's a nasty sax solo.
It's so sick.
It is, and it kind of comes out of nowhere, because it sounds at certain parts like there's a car going by with its horn on. Wow. And I love atmospheric stuff like that. And then you're like, oh, that's a fucking saxophone? And it's a good saxophone. We had a saxophone on like another Jordan Carr and the Boys thing where I love it, but everyone I know who's a like good musician is always like, oh, there's a fucking note on that song. But yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. That guy was such a G, and I didn't know. You know, sometimes you don't know what people are doing because like in my head I'm like, we'll just take it from the top and do it. He's like, no, just let it go, just to put it out, and he would just loop parts and then just hit notes like, bam, wait a minute, bam, bam, bam. You go save that, and I'm like, you fucking sure? All right, okay. But then like 3 years later, I found that file, and because I was trying to think of things, what is missing in this Ronnie song? I need some keys, some more guitars. Yeah. It was that, and so I encourage anyone listening that if we haven't sold you on it by now,
right,
we're never going to. But I think that song is like, that's a sing-along song thing out of them, and it has been for 12 years of my life playing that, where there's a handful of cities I can go to where people know that song. They're like, oh, you're the guy who wrote that? I'm like, goddamn right. But I think that, and that's tough for me to say. I love them all, but I think that song has just carried its own weight for so many years. And then being Zach Morris is just something I'm so proud of. But I feel like my heart lies so firmly with Party Town USA.
Yeah, which I do have a question about that.
Yeah.
So I'll let you squeeze the lemon here. At the beginning of Party Town USA, to kind of start off this EP version of Bender, there's a soundbite of you talking, like.
You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Again, I love it. No one's made me a drink on my show before.
Oh, that's fucking horseshit.
This is setting a whole new standard for 2025. I don't know. I got to tell everyone that's coming on, like, up your game right now.
Up your game. Yeah, we'll see. I didn't measure out any of that citrus. We'll see how that works out. Can I set that right here?
Yeah, you're good.
Great.
If you see my nice branded coasters there.
I do. They're beautiful. I've got one more thing I need to do, and then go right into this. If you're gonna cut your citrus, do it with a cheese.
Ooh. Cheese
wheel, or a cheese slicer. There you are, my friend.
So fancy. Thank you.
I hope that is. I hope I actually grabbed the simple syrup and it's not. Actually, I know I did. I made it right before I came here. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me. It is sour.
Ooh, that is good.
All right.
That's actually my first tequila sour I think I've ever had.
All right, good.
So,
this is the most sour one you'll probably ever have.
Hey, I've been getting into some sours, sour beers lately, so it hits perfect.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, at the beginning of Party Town USA, you have this sound clip in there, and you kind of start to hear yourself saying, and it's kind of like, I was at a point where I thought, like, if I just did it, I could keep, like, going. Like, what is that, and, like, what did it mean to put that into Party Town?
I know exactly where I was when that happened. I know who I was with. I know who recorded it. I know whose bathtub I was sitting in, fully clothed, while they were sitting on the toilet, recording me saying it.
Yeah, because it definitely sounds like you were in some shit.
I was on a 3-day bender. I had not slept. I was one of my very best friends. the one person that, like I send all of my demos to have any song to, I don't think there's nothing incriminating about this. His name is Micah, one of my best friends. I always send my demos, any songs I'm excited about to him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait till he says something back. More often than not, he's very complimentary and gives a lot of good criticism. Every now and then, he'll be like, kind of a meandering song, and I'm like, God fucking damn it. But he was here, this is years ago. It was his birthday, I think. He came up to hang out. I had been awake for like 2 days, I think, and I'm like, I gotta get it together. If you go on Bandcamp, there's the extended version of that.
Okay.
There's the extended, it's a whole video, I think, of me talking about I can't let him down, and the only way I can do this. And I vividly remember it. I was in the shower. I'm like, dude, you have to go to bed. I was like, no. The only way I do this, I'll start drinking. Let's do a little more drugs, and I'll be fine. And then I think it kind of picks up the rest of that conversation's in the bridge. I mean, it's covered up by a lot of guitars. And at the very end, you can hear me go, I can't let Micah down. It's his birthday. That's what that is. And that's why I wanted to be like the opening track, because you hear stuff like that all the time. And like people who really like you will spend time to listen to it. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, if your headphones involved. But that is quintessential. That's how my life was when I was writing and planning Bender.
Right.
And it was like, oh, I should go to sleep and be healthy. Yeah. But what if I didn't? I could push off putting out Bender for many, many more years, right? Because I've never accomplished shit when I'm going on a Bender. But that's what that is.
It's also, you know, obviously, like, that's where you were at that time. But, like, you know, the album, again, is named Bender. So, like, it's the perfect, as shitty as the time that was, it's the perfect way to start an album called Bender in this saga of
the dumbass
saga of, you know, reinventing and then going into his Bender. Like, that's the perfect way to kind of start this this album.
It is, yes. And that's, like I said before, I go back and forth. And it's, it's all relative. Once I have the back half of the album is done, the sequencing could be very, very different. And that's something I battle with, and I'm sure many people do, is like I see when I'm focused in on something like this, I see everything in album covers, song sequencing, and like liner notes. Things that I think most people don't give a fuck about, or else they see them in their own way. Mm-hmm. It's so wildly important to me that it comes across exactly how I feel about it so that other people will like it. And that's so insane to me. I'm like, remember I said I'm not very good at promoting things? I'm finding about myself, it's so wildly important that it's sequenced so right so that when I'm on a long car ride with just myself, I am enjoying this. Because every now and then, maybe once every few years, I just put on my discography on its own. I don't give a fuck. I bet many people do that.
Yeah.
I want to feel so good about what I did and what is out there, hopefully forever. Mm. That, and I want it to come across, if that's making sense. Like, I want people to feel like the singer wrote the songs about real things and didn't hold back anything. And then, I don't know, just also, I had something to say and it is gone now. I want people to, you know how insane it is to just so badly want people to like what you do?
Yeah.
And then, but then also go, I only care if I like it. You're fucking lying. Why spend the time to do it? No, I'm very excited. Thank you for noticing those little things in there. I love to put little things in songs, hoping that someone will pick this out. Mm-hmm. Not hoping that I have to sit down with them and be like, no, but wait, listen. Did you catch that? Nobody wants to do that.
No.
And nobody wants the person to be the person having that done to them. That's the worst.
But on the flip side of that, so as like someone that did notice, like, you know, the saxophone, that little intro sound clip, is there anything that I didn't catch in the other two songs that you might have done?
Party Town USA is a little different. It's the opening track. That's probably the one that's the most stripped down. Ronnie was pretty well orchestrated, like exactly what we wanted to do, kind of. I mean, we tracked the drums to that when we were doing the first Jordan Carr and the Boys album years ago. And then that's kind of, I dug that out. I know Sippy had to do some rearranging with some things. And then we did retrack some stuff. I mean, the only thing that you would really pick up in that is when I referenced Third Eye Blind in that. And it was Matt Webster's idea to do the do. And so that's in there. It's in the second verse when I say Third Eye Blind. There's comes in.
Oh fuck! I gotta go back.
Which is great. And a big thing that I love that because I think it's pretty common knowledge that Stephen Jenkins of Third Eye Blind is kind of a piece of shit and will sue people over stuff like that. I'm like, dude, sue me. What do you put me on the map, brother?
Right.
Put me on the 1990s alt rock band map. Nothing in Just South of Heaven is just very straightforward. And then in Being Zach Morris, I want people so badly to listen to that one. Like I think all the songs build in a certain way, especially Party Town and Being Zach Morris. If you listen to the whole song, you get the full picture. I know how easy it is to turn on a song and go, oh, it's just piano and a guy fucking singing. If you wait, there's a climax in that song that is really, really awesome.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know, I wrote that song while I was in jail getting out on work release to work at a Papa John's. And the manager of that Papa John's would write my schedule so that it looked like I was working longer. And he would just lock up and leave. And he's just like, lock the doors when you go. And my guitar was in there. And I would write for hours after working. And I wrote that song there. And to see where that song has come from, you know, potentially having to go to jail longer for getting caught doing that. It was...
Well, not even where that song's come, but where you've come.
Oh, for sure.
Like, from that moment to now. Like, that's crazy to think, like, that... Like, all the things you've overcome, like, I can't wait for... to see if the dumbass will overcome all this in the third segment. But, like, what you overcome from, like, our last conversation and, like, listening to these songs, like... Dude, major props. Like
Thank you.
Like meeting you now, if I didn't know all this stuff, I would have never assumed your past. Granted, I do have a amazing koozie with your mugshot on it.
That's right. You have to make money off those things somehow.
You know, it's all about branding, marketing, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
it's about getting your money back that they charge you to be in jail every day.
Right? Hey, as long as you're able to keep the picture. Fuck
you know how I have that picture? Did I tell you?
I don't think you did.
It costs $50 a day to be incarcerated, where I was. I was there for 8 months. So it's 50 times 8, quick math. 50 times, yeah. So what was that?
50 times like 240 days.
$400, is that right? No, that's not fucking right. That's terrible math.
Let us know in the comments.
Let's know in the comments. 50 times...
We'll take 30 times 8, 30 days.
So that was roughly $10,000.
Yeah.
And they don't ask you for money when you leave.
Right.
But what they don't tell you is that if you don't pay, they just take your state income taxes forever. I did know that. I also knew enough that I had a good mugshot. I called the jail because they don't give them to you. Mm-hmm. You could save the one like off like the thumbnail off the website. It's just it's shit quality. So I lied. I called the jail and I said I was working with I can't remember where it was. No, it wasn't Star Tribune. But it was something in Minneapolis. And so I was doing a story on reformed felons who are doing good for their community. And I just listed a few names after looking down the list of people that I knew that weren't pieces of shit that I had met in there, that I know had like good jobs and things. That didn't matter at all. And I just laced my name in between it. And they're like, oh yeah, and what's your name? I just made up a name, made up an email address, and have that email address still. And they sent me the pictures of everyone. I just kept mine, high-res photo of mine, put it on koozies, t-shirts, stickers, everything. I made that money back in a year and a half.
That's fucking amazing.
Fuck yeah, it is. I was like, dude, they don't, a small town jail give a fuck that, like, they're gonna check in and be like, he said he was doing a piece.
just imagine, like, you should have been like sent them a sticker or something and just have like the one guy that answered the phone like he yelled at by his manager of just like, why'd you give that out? He said he was making an article. I
just send them a fake article. Just make them be like, here it is. Journalism takes time sometimes. So 10 years later, send it to him.
That's fucking amazing. Yeah, because I have one of the stickers with the album, and then I also have the koozie and then it's also, isn't that the cover art for Reinventing the Dumbass too? Or no?
It is the cover for Revisiting the Dumbass.
Okay.
I did a live kind of storytellers, telling the story about being on trial, and what kind of little shit that threw my life into. I was like, I better party as hard as I can if I'm being locked up for this many years. I worked very hard on that. It's not my favorite now. Going back, listening to it, I feel like I would have told the stories a little differently. And some of the stories I feel like I'm coming off as I'm bragging about some shit. And it wasn't. I was just very nervous during the show.
Yeah, I feel like that's the tough thing when you tell some stories is like, because I've told someone like my drunk stories on this show, and I always feel like I feel weird saying them sometimes because like in reality, like I was just drunk and obnoxious, but like when I'm telling the story, like I'm not trying to brag that I was drunk and obnoxious. I'm just trying to give that like this is where I was in that point when I tell that story. But also with that, when I was going through everything, and I could be wrong, is that because I went through and like when I listened to everything today, I listened to the Bender version and then I listened to like the original single version.
Yeah.
When I got to Zach Morris, is Zach Morris the only other version in that live recording?
It's only on that.
Okay,
well, that's not true. There is if you go to my Bandcamp, has all the things I put out during COVID.
Right.
I never take anything off there. I kind of leave that. That's like, I heard someone recently say that it's like for real heads. Like if you're going to Bandcamp to listen to music, especially if you use your phone,
right.
And how fucking obnoxious it is to use Bandcamp to listen to music.
Yeah. Like,
I played a song and then I put on, I almost said MapQuest. I put on MapQuest. Yeah, I'm not almost 40. You put on Bandcamp and then you just like put on Google Maps or something. You have to open the app back up for it to play the next track in it. So yeah, it's for real heads who want to fuck around with that. But there is another version on that that I've been kicking. The first version I ever did. It's 6 minutes long. It's 6.5 minutes long. It's Being Zach Morris is going to be this long ballad, and it's if you have the chance, maybe don't listen to it. I might put it up on Spotify. Like I'm kicking around the idea of putting out some of these wildly different versions of these songs. Mm-hmm. Is yet another way to go listen to the better ones. But yeah, it is on there. I've had that song for a very long time. I think there's a lot of people that, at least I know, that I thought were going to be very excited about this finished version of Being Zach Morris. And the feedback I've gotten is a lot of people are like, I really liked it when it was just you playing guitar. Until you go, well, you're wrong. This is the better version.
Like, as much as that live version was good, I do like this new version. Because, like, I think it takes it to almost a level where... Because it's hard to say, like, for anyone that would be like, I like the live version better. Like, it's never... It's
very different. I mean, it's a finger-picked acoustic guitar.
Right.
It's much more intimate, and it's
got a different feeling than, like, this one, but
it probably feels and sounds more raw. This is just how I envisioned if I was going to write a ballad.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it needed to be like. And it's almost like the part 2 of Real Vodka. Because Real Vodka, the song, was this big ballad.
Right.
I probably will never do songs like this again, I don't think. Like, I'm fine with them being that. I don't need to topple this 90s size, this 80s, 90s huge, monstrous ballad. So, Return of the Dumbass can just be these normal songs.
Return of the Dumbass, he just goes to like 30-second hardcore songs.
Dude, there's so many songs that I have this list of songs. They're 2 minutes. If you listen to my songs, it's hard for me to get a song under 4 minutes.
That is very true. I mean, the shortest song on this one is 30 minutes and 34 seconds.
Yeah, that it was a task to do that. But no,
But at the same time, like, as much as you don't like it, it almost becomes synonymous with Jordan Carr. Of like,
yeah,
because you listen to, obviously, Jordan Carr and the Boys is Real Vodka, and you get used to those, like, ballads, and then you come to this, and you're like, okay, they're still there. It's still Jordan at the end of the day.
That is, it was very nice. Someone said to me once, they're like, these songs, at the core, they're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
You strip away all the stuff, they're good songs. Just some of them are, in my mind, better than others.
Yeah.
Sometimes I listen to the final recording, I go, oh, I could do without that. But I'm very, very proud of, as I feel myself getting ready to wrap this up. Bender I'm so proud of everything that went into it, the time we spent with it, the fact that something like that I sat on a bench years ago, it was like, this is what it'll be like. And everything is almost exactly that way, just better.
Yeah.
And then to go and start next month to finish the back half of it, and then to see how people feel about songs they've never heard, that maybe I don't know where they're going to go anymore. Because I had a pretty good idea about a month ago. And that's very exciting. It's scary and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
All I hope is that my girlfriend doesn't say what she said to me the other day. She goes, are these new songs going to be kind of those weird mumbling songs you've been doing? I'm like, yeah, it's just me being nervous playing them at breweries. But it's going to be exciting. And I hope that everyone, if you're going to listen to anything on Bender, listen to all of it. But please do, listen to Being Zach Morris. Give it 4.5 minutes of your life. And if you hate that, listen to a different song on it. Or never again. Or go listen to any of my stuff. I don't know. I am at a point where the drink really got me. So,
dude, it was a solid drink. Thankfully, I ate supper today before this.
Yeah, I had a bunch of quinoa, so I feel good.
Yeah. Normally, what happens is like I'll record at like 6:30, so I get home, usually don't eat, just prep for the episode, and then like have like 4 beers, and by the end of it, I'm like,
that sounds fucked up.
I'm like sitting there, and then I go make a pizza, and then fucking pass out, which is not good because then you look like this.
I will what I'll do is I'll make the pizza and luckily get it out of the oven or get it on a plate, and it will just, half of it will be on me in the morning. Or I will order a pizza and not answer the door. Pass out before anyone comes. What's our closing? What are we doing?
I was gonna bounce off what you were saying of like, if anyone's gonna listen to Bender, at least listen to Zach Morris, give it the time. I say fuck that. If anyone's gonna listen to Bender, listen to the whole fucking thing. Yeah. And be ready for the full version of Bender. Like, the stories that are told through it are amazing. Like I've said, like you're so good at it, and I think like we've talked about Webby, we've talked about Supportive Parents. I love the shit that they do. I love some of the stories that are kind of told through that, but it's different because I know the shit that they're doing to get those stories there, and technically they fall underneath. Some of the songs fall underneath the umbrella of, did they really live that?
I will be there to tell you, they really did. And some of their songs, I really lived, and they made them songs. Check Boomerang on the first Supportive Parents album.
Okay.
That's my life.
But, like, what you're doing is, like you're killing it across the board, and I'm really stoked to see one, not just you finish these, but to see some new Jordan Carr coming out.
Yeah,
like because it'll be technically almost 4 years since the last new song has come out. Well, considering Real Vodka stuff.
It will because Bean Zach Morris has been out before in a different version. Yeah, this will be the first ones. They're all new. It's gonna be awesome. It will be awesome. And if someone thinks it's not awesome, guess what? We talked on this earlier. There are so many other bands in the entire world that you will never hear your favorite band. And I definitely can't be your least favorite. Because there's your least favorite bands out there somewhere. You just might never hear them.
Right.
If that makes sense. But yeah, please do listen to that. When we do, we'll have a pretty decent album release. We'll come back. We'll do the back half. We won't have to talk about these songs. Thank you so much.
Dude, this has been a good time. I know you said you're going into the studio in January. And then you're playing some shows, a couple shows. Do you have what's planned for 2025?
I've got my hometown where I have some buddies who live still, who own a beautiful marina there. I'm playing there on December 20th. It's in Fairmont, Minnesota. And after that, there's a January show that's yet to be locked down in Mankato, Minnesota. Other than that, I'm just going to record, and I would like to really look forward to doing another Jordan Carr and the Boys show.
That'd be sick.
I highly doubt I can get Gloria to gather for that one, but there's a good chance I get Supportive Parents and a few other ones. And if you want to throw some people at me for that, we'll do a big sponsorship.
Well, I'll have my people talk to your people after this, and I got some things in the works that, too, you never know what could happen here.
I do like at the end of these podcasts, I was like, I'll keep it straight to the end of this. It won't be a mess. And I'm right here going, mess.
No,
mess.
Dude, you're holding it together perfectly, man.
It was very kind of you.
Mainly because I've seen the episodes. Even our last time, that was not that bad. Like, when I did it with Comic Choir, I would have been we're only a fraction of what that Comic Choir episode was.
Oh, well, I'm trying to get us to a time where I don't even have to take a bathroom break. I can just
Dude,
go.
It's been an hour and a half. You haven't even done it yet.
I know, but I'm about to. Let's get to the story.
Okay. Do you want to do bathroom break and then stories?
No, I just want to. I'm gonna take over and be like, let's do the story.
All right.
And then cut it.
Well, before we get to the story, obviously this is Beers with Bands. You don't have to be drinking on these episodes because I definitely do that for you. But I know Jordan Carr, you've been drinking some stuff tonight. What did you start out with to recap us?
Yeah, I love. You're very, very good at getting. After 200 some episodes, you should be good at because I would end the episode and be like, "Fuck, I didn't do that part." I brought some Modelo's, and I brought some El Jimador Blanco tequila. And if you guys obviously, if you see on YouTube, but if you're just listening, I juiced some fresh lemons. I made some simple syrup right before I came here. Yeah. Threw a little sea salt in there, and I made some tequila sours. And that is the reason why I Ubered here.
Smart.
When you text me, you're like, "You can park here." I went, I know the name of the podcast. I Ubered, man.
I was this close to texting you back and being like, "Oh, bummer. I could have been like the next like Jordan Carr song of like, I got a DUI at the Beers house."
Listen, man. I don't want none of my songs about DUIs. You know why?
I don't want you to get one
because Uber is a thing.
But I could have been solidified in Jordan Carr history.
So that's what I'm drinking.
But dude, that tequila sour was fucking amazing. Like I said, my first tequila sour, first person to ever make me a drink.
Hell yeah.
On the podcast. I appreciate that so much.
Fuck yeah.
I started the episode before pre-crack. The good old Pilsner.
Yeah.
This is actually a Salvadorian beer. Nice. My dad's from El Salvador, so I was down there in October and brought a couple cases back.
Hell yeah. And warm as hell, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, it was good. Had them in the fridge. And then, have a good old Colt 45, and if everyone was gracious enough to send me their addresses for those holiday cards that I got sent out, you would have seen maybe this exact bottle in that photo, because I drank one during there, and then the other one I saved. But it took me three liquor stores to find.
That's what I told him when we got here. I was like, I missed the days of being able to go to 3 liquor stores to find what you want to drink, over going to 3 different Spirit Halloweens to find a werewolf costume for your son.
Yeah. But now we're in the storytelling part of the episode. I know, granted, I haven't gone back to listen to that episode, mainly because after sitting through them, not sitting, that sounds bad. Recording an episode with someone for an hour to 2 hours,
dude,
and then going back and listen to it. It's like you've been sitting on music for so long. It's like any artist. You sit on music so long, you start to hate it. So you gotta kind of just get away from it. You
give a few months and you listen to it, and you go, yes, but that's very different to have 25 songs out on Spotify than to have 250 1 to 2 hour episodes. You're not doing that. But also, I can assure you, the last episode I listened to, I was like, That's why I came in right away. I was like, we got to make it better.
But you at least listened to it, so you know what we talked about, what stories we might have told, what stories we might not have told, what you still want to tell. And for everyone listening, obviously, as I normally say, this can be anything horrendous to tremendous, or any adjective in between. The stories you always reminisce about with your friends. And I started adding a new twist to this little saying, if you haven't caught it in the newer episodes, is statute of limitations are still probably a thing. Don't incriminate yourself. Or do. No one checks these out anyways.
That's very good of you, because when I was talking about the pizza manager who just wrote my schedule so I could be out of jail longer, I think that's over.
Hell yeah.
No one would know. They're listening. That fucking bumfuck small town jail is going, I knew it! I knew it!
I knew it wasn't a real article.
And I also knew who's delivering pizza that late? At Papa John's. He was writing that goddamn Bean Zach Morris song. Son of a bitch. This is, again, after listening to some episodes, newer ones, and remembering this story, and listening to my dear friend Boomer and Supportive Parents answer this question on their podcast, I went, I need to lock it in for this one. No crazy story. Very crazy story. When we were going to, originally for Party Town USA, the opening track on Bender, I had recorded the guitars and the vocals, and I was so proud of the way that I sang these vocals, but I knew that I needed some harmonies on them. So again, going back and saying, like, it was during COVID. I knew Matt Webster taking it very seriously when we just really didn't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. I was taking it seriously. It's maybe one of my first nights hanging out with people. We went to Supportive Parents rehearsal space, kind of set up my stuff. We set it up so janky. Matt, bless his soul, him and I feel like cut from the same cloth when it comes to like setting up shit. He's quite a bit more. He's so much more talented than I think he would ever tell you, but I like the way he does it. It's like a perfect mess. Like he plays me something that he did, and I'm like, oh, it sounds like shit, but it sounds so good. I play him something, I'm like, it sounds like shit, but it sounds like, oh, so shit. Fuck. Could you help me? So he was going to do some harmonies. We went to their spot. I'm like, we should get some liquor. We go to the liquor store. He's like, there's a liquor store over here. Yep. It's in North. It's a lot of places are boarded up. There's like almost, if you've seen, it seemed like there was a lot of people on downers hanging out in the parking lot a ton. Yeah,
I know where his practice space is, so yeah. I know the area you're kind of talking
about. It was a little zombie down, like everyone's kind of walking real, like Weekend at Bernie's style, but in slow motion. And it looked like a party, but not a party I would like to be at. And I think like uppers, alcohol, I don't want a downer. So we park, we just walk nonchalantly to the liquor store. The liquor store is closed, it's locked up. No one's there. A million people in this parking lot. Matt and I turn around, we're like, we'll go somewhere else. We hear, pop, pop, pop. Bunch of little kids run past us. Pop, pop, pop. Bunch of little kids run back past us. There's this moment in your head where you're like, this is not happening.
Right.
I'm not going to acknowledge this. I'm in denial. We get in my car, and we're both like, did we just see a drive-by shooting? Did we just see a fucking homicide? And Jesus. I remember Matt's like, we're both like, yeah, we should leave. You should go. We should go. I'm like, yeah, let's go. We drive out. We go to his place. The vocal harmonies you hear on that song were right after that happened. God. And it was, Matt told, and I've never confirmed this. Matt says it's confirmed that was a homicide that happened. Right. Just because, and we just happened to be, you could picture the area and you can picture Matt and me.
Yep.
We stood out like a sore thumb. The fact that we walked through that, and I'd never seen anything like that, and I don't think he had either. That was enough to tell me, I'm like, all right, the rest of this recording process can't be that bad. Sorry if you thought that was going to be a fun story.
It's for living in Minneapolis, that's probably, I hear pop every few nights. Living in the
it was right in front of us, yeah. And it was young kids.
I couldn't imagine that.
Kids laughing about it, running back. They ran past us to do it, ran back past us to laughing about it. As we were just like, I just wanted to get a 12-pack of beer. Oh my God. Oh. And we just went back and we recorded without alcohol. But Boomer came later and he gave us some, he brought some sours, yeah. And with that, let's close it down because I'm about to pee.
You just told us that story about how oh my God.
Yeah, well, let's bring it back up now. Well, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Before we end, I want to make you hold it for a second longer. Obviously, because I like to end these episodes off on a high note. My question for you before we end is getting ready, re-recording these or remastering these for Bender, and getting ready for the full release. What has been your favorite moment in this time to get it fully done?
Well, it wasn't that. It wasn't that moment. To be honest, it was... I really, really think it was the last time that Sippy and Webster and I got together at Sippy's to do the harmonies for Being Zach Morris. Mm-hmm. That was... I remember driving there with Webster going, it's been so long since we started these songs. I know Sippy's probably going to want to get us out of there around 9 because, in a year or so, people's lives change. And Webster's like, yeah, we'll get out of there by 9. We left there at midnight. I don't know. And it was, but he's like, no, I got this idea and this idea. I usually am awake for all this. I'm falling asleep. I'm like, Justin, how can you bear this? And then the last thing, I go down into the vocal booth because I just sat there and I said out loud, and I said it, I go, you idiot. I went, what if we did, and I go down and do it. I'm like, God damn it. It felt like, without me knowing that, we were, the first batch of songs, that was kind of going to be the end of our, at least the two of us, the three of us doing that Bender version. Mm-hmm. It probably was a perfect way to do it, because I felt like we had gotten so much older since we started doing them a couple of years before. Yeah. But nothing had changed. It was no, we gotta... I was trying to be so respectful, we'll leave at 9, and Justin's like, just get it done, whatever it takes. Let's go do it. And I'm like, it was very special to spend the time with those guys and the effort that they put in to do these songs, that have my name on them. But in my mind, they're stamped, there is this line underneath it is Jordan Carr, acoustic guitar, vocals. Then you can stack on so many stems and layers of Justin Sapp, and about 45 harmony takes for Matt Webster. And that was a very special time for me. So that was it.
Hell yeah. Well, I can't wait to do this again when the back half of Bender is done and we can talk about some more fun times. Obviously, we kind of talked already about some stuff coming up in 2025. Some stuff that'll probably not even be announced by the time this episode comes out, too. But if anyone's looking for merch, music, or Jordan Carr yourself, where can they find it?
I'm right here on this YouTube page. You can tune in and take a peek at me. I didn't... When you were looking at the camera for a while, that's right, there's a fucking camera there.
Hey, no, you did great. You gotta forget that it's there.
Bandcamp, jordancarr.bandcamp.com has all my merch on it. You can go to Spotify, it's got merch. You can send me a message, and I will send you a personalized piece of merch. We have third-party printing now. I can make you anything you want, but come to a show whenever it's up. Jordan Carr with 4 R's on Instagram. But all the merch, all the records, everything I've ever done is on Bandcamp. But if you want to make me look cool, which I fucking don't now, you can go on to Spotify and bump those numbers up. Probably not going to help, but I'll see it.
It will, like I normally say, depending on where you found this episode, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, or Blue Sky, or you watched the YouTube version and got to see Jordan's lovely face like I did tonight, hit the hyperlinks down below. Go follow him on all the socials. Be ready for new music. The back half of Bender. Be ready for upcoming shows, new merch. Go get all that fun stuff. One quick shout out that I got to do that I not need to do, but I want to do to Aaron of Suburban Surf Club. They were on the podcast recently. Also does Hard Dyes. He made me this lovely one-of-one shirt that I'm wearing for today's episode. If you're wanting to do anything, go hit up Hard Dyes on Instagram. And get some tie-dye stuff from Aaron. One last big thank you to Jordan for taking the time, for coming back through, for doing another one. Thirsty Thursdays in the book.
Oh, that's what it is. I forgot about those.
Yeah, and, everyone, go listen to Jordan Carr. Go listen to Bender. Be ready for the back half. Listen to Real Vodka, too, because that shit still slaps. Listen to fucking everything that he's
Listen to American Spirit, the second track on Neapolitan Man, and tell me that's not the best song on it.
Yeah. Pump those numbers up.
Listen to them all.
And other than that, I will catch everyone on the next episode. See ya.
Oh, baby! Hell yeah, dog.
Sick.
Beers with Bears.